All right, what's up, y'all? Very, 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 very sad day in boxing today. All right, we lost one of the all-time greats, one of my personal favorite boxers of all time. Um, Shout out to my boy Chad. You seen me do videos with him in the past. He's the one that hit me up early, very, very early this morning. I had just got to work. I was just getting comfortable at work, and I got the news. Really, really messed me up, man. Rest in peace, man. First of all, rest in peace. Let's make that clear. My condolences to his family. Um, he was hit by a car. He's only 55 years old. Only 55. He's in Virginia. From what I know from the last report that I read, he was hit by a car, but it wasn't a hit and run or anything like that. I don't know if there's going to be any kind of investigation about this. I don't know if it was just, I mean, I'm sad that he passed away, but I hope there was no, drinking and driving involved. I hope it was no foul play involved. Um, but from what I read, the person that was involved in the accident actually stayed there until police arrived. But unfortunately, Pernell Whitaker lost his life. Uh, Sweetpea, what he is to me. I was born in the '80s. I was into boxing because my father was into boxing. And I'll tell you that the first three boxers that I was a fan of, the very first three and I know this, I remember this because I remember everything, even from a very young at three. Mike Tyson, Hector Camacho, and Pernell Whitaker. Those are the first three fighters that I ever was a fan of. Hector Camacho, he's from uptown. He's from Spanish Harlem. you know, Crazy costumes. That was the reason why I liked him as a young boy. And rest in peace to him too. As a young kid, I used to like watching him coming in with the costumes. He could be an Indian, he could be a military guy. He would wear these crazy flashy robes. He had all the women, the cars. He was just like the first flashy fighter that I ever seen. You know, just like I said about Zab in a recent video I did about him when he was in the hospital. Uh, he represented New York. I mean, he was New York. When I used to see him on TV, he reminded me of where I was from, where I was living. I was living in the Bronx slash Harlem at the time. I'm living in Harlem now, but I mean, I just moved back to Harlem. But when I was young, I used to be in that area. And I mean, even though he was Puerto Rican, uh, he represented us. And Sweet Pea was a guy outside. I mean, everybody loved Mike Tyson, so I don't even need to address why I love Mike Tyson and why he was my favorite fighter. But Sweet Pea, man, genius. He was the first genius in the ring that I ever experienced. I mean, just watching him, the way he moved. Everybody used to look at him like the way people look at Lomachenko right now. I mean, at least I did, or at least that's what I remember him as. So I just thought he was a genius. I mean, the dude could just really, just literally drop his guard and just keep his guard down and make you miss repeatedly. I mean, we got all these defensive geniuses over the years. I mean, even me going back and watching old fighters like a Willie Pep. Before YouTube, I didn't really watch the videos of Willie Pep. I got put on to him when YouTube was available, and going back and watching old other fighters. A lot of guys won't admit that, but uh, between all of the even guys today, you got Lomachenko, you had Rigo, you had Floyd Mayweather. Who else? You had Mike McCallum, you got James Toney, all of the Bernard Hopkins, all of the defensive guys that we seen over the years Sweet Pea was probably my favorite because he was defensive and he'll beat your ass at the same time. He'll beat your ass, man. That's what I like about Sweet Pea. He talked a lot and he was a cool dude, but he talked. I think when I watch his old fights, I probably like to watch the Roger Mayweather fight the most. There was so much drama. I believe at that time that was a step up for Sweet Pea. He was still fighting down at lightweight, and that was a step up in opposition for him. So I like to go back and watch that fight because there was so much shit talking between the two of them, leading up to the fight, and even while they fought each other. Um, I'm gonna miss Pernell Whitaker. I mean, at least we can watch him fight forever. My condolences to his family. I mean, we're fans at the end of the day, so we not, even though we feel it, we're not feeling on a level like the family is feeling it. But uh, I would have to say the Roger Mayweather fight is probably one of my favorites to go back and watch. I watched the Chavez fight as well. All his fights were really good. I mean, even when he was past his prime and he fought Felix Trinidad, I still was a big fan back then. I remember I was biased back then. I mean, I used to really love Oscar De La Hoya, right? But I used to I like Sweet Pea better when they fought. So I used to be like one of the dudes like, oh, Sweet Pea got robbed. He beat De La Hoya, and I used to say that when I used to watch the fights when I was a kid, and I did remember watching that fight live. That's one fight I remember actually watching live. The Chavez fight, I might have seen it when I was a kid, but I don't remember watching that specific fight. I actually do remember fights that I used to watch as a kid live. But he definitely beat Chavez. I mean, everybody knows that. I mean, people get throw robbery around all over the place, but Sweet Pea just he outboxed him, and Chavez was a little edging a little bit past his prime. He was a little bit past his prime for sure, but he was still great. And Sweet Pea just outboxed him all fight and gave him a good fight, and was aggressive at times in that fight. But he was probably the greatest showboater there is to me. I mean, if you just look at like as far as defensive highlights, his highlights were probably the most. They stood out the most. These all those guys I named earlier, they're all great defensive fighters. All of them. I'm not even trying to debate which was the best, the absolute best. Because when I watch Willie Pep and be like, when I watch his videos on YouTube, I'll be like, damn, like for a fighter to be fighting like that back then, like many, many, many years ago. There's guys that's not even close to being that defensive now. And elite fighters. We're talking about elite fighters. So I can say Willie Pep is definitely between those two as far as probably the absolute best defensive fighters. But you also got to throw in James Toney. You got to throw, Mike McCallum. You got to throw it. You got to throw in Floyd Mayweather Jr. You got to throw him in there. Lomachenko. People bring him up a lot. You got to bring him up. You got Guillermo Rigondeaux. All these guys. You got to throw in. There's a lot of great defensive fighters. But Pernell it was just amazing what he do, and he'll beat you up at the same time. He wasn't running, and if he was moving, he was throwing punches. Great fighter to always watch. If you haven't watched many of his fights, just check him out. Check out the De La Hoya fight. Check out the Roger Mayweather fight. Check out the Chavez Senior fight. Check his fights out. Check out his highlights. His highlights. There's probably a million highlight videos of him on YouTube. All right, but rest in peace, man. We lost a great one, an all-time great one of the best fighters, and he can. This is one of the few guys that you can compare to anybody from any era. Any era, he would have been one of the best, if not the best, in any era. You know, in his prime, you can compare him to anybody from any era from those weight classes. Uh, he was that good. He was that good. So yeah, those are just I just that's just my thoughts on Sweet Pea, man. Rest in peace. I hope his family is strong about it. Um, in the comments, you guys drop your favorite moment Pernell Whitaker moment. You know, if you were a diehard fan, what made you a fan? You know, where do you rate him? What's your favorite fight of his? What was your favorite moment of his? Just drop any memory you got of him. You know that my memory is just my dad watching him, and you know me, him, and I also brought up Camacho because that's a fight that I always wanted to see even back then. You know, I think besides those three, Tyson, Camacho, and Sweetpea. Obviously, I knew of Sugar Ray Leonard and Hearns and Hagler and them. I knew about them, but I actually like was a fan of those three. Those are the first three fighters that I was really a diehard fan of. Those are the first three. And I've said that before in my earlier, older videos when I used to do throwback videos. I used to do throwback videos, old fight videos. I used to do top 10 all-time favorite videos. I gotta get back to doing stuff like that. You know, I have a newer following now, but those videos are still up, man. I never removed none of those videos. So you can always just search BoxingWave, favorite video, favorite this, top 10 this. Go back in those. You can go back to 2013, 2014, 2015. Those videos are out there. All right, but rest in peace to Sweet Pea, man, and leave your thoughts in the comments, man. Make sure you guys subscribe. All right, peace.